Hello, hello, hello. Long time no talking to you guys this way. Just me, just going off in the mic. No gameplay, no nothing. Just me talking. I was gonna say script, but there are no scripts in these videos. There never were. Except for the big ones back then. But yeah, we're back with Is It Possible sort of series, I guess, at this point. I did make only two, but it was fun making those two, and I do plan on making more eventually, but I thought this was a perfect chance to talk about Capcom versus SNK 2. I was gonna do this video anyway, and then I remembered the collection was coming out, and I downloaded it, I played it, it's the footage you are seeing on screen right now, and I only had good experiences with the collection so far. I have virtually no complaints the same way the MVC2 collection, the MVC collection worked, and we played MVC2 for the channel with that. It's funny that this time we do have the collection to make comparisons with. So there are a few things I'll be mentioning here that are exclusive to the EO version of CVS2, as I understand, because that's the one you use in ranked. So sorry if I don't talk a lot about role cancelling. I know that's an OG CVS2 technique, but you don't see that in ranked because that's not the version we're currently using. Maybe eventually they do patch it out, but for now it's just EO. So, CVS2. It's really fun. It's been real fun going back to an older game. It's been a while since I played an older Capcom game because I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter 6, Fatal Fury and such. So I thought it was a good idea to finally touch in this one in particular. You know, going back to the peak of the franchise, you know, the peak of Capcom games, you know. I say Capcom because they are the ones that developed this. I know obviously the SNK characters are involved, of course, but like Capcom made this one with SNK characters. So I'll say a lot of Capcom more so rather than SNK. So I hope no one minds. But yeah, CVS2 is actually a very interesting, very in-depth game. Even looking at it, it's like, if you know nothing about CVS2, you already look at it and it's like, wait, why does that guy have only one character and that one has two and he has three and their meter bars are different and what's happening? So there's a lot to talk about just from the get-go, even before you actually get into playing the game itself. So I think I want to talk about the grooves and ratios before we actually talk about the game itself. The game itself, spoiler alert maybe, it can change a lot depending on the groove you pick. But I'll talk in a more general sense later on. So let us start with the grooves first, and we got 6 of them. 3 for Capcom, 3 for SNK. So it's kind of funny because honestly I didn't know much about the grooves before the collection came out and before I was playing on the PS2 version of it. But I was only playing on, on P groove because it was the Third Strike. The Third Strike 1, and now that the collection came out, I actually did my research on each groove. I won't tell you every little detail, but I'll tell you some like a general idea so you guys know. So let's start with C groove. C groove is basically your vanilla method of using meter. You build level 1, level 2, level 3, you can spend it on level 1 by using a light button, level 2 by medium, level 3 heavy and such. That's your basic thing. The thing that C groove adds that's particular to C groove is with the meter. You can use a level 2 and cancel it into either a level 1 super or a special attack. So something like, for example, Ken's level 2 Shiryu-Reppa, you can cancel it into Shoryuken or just a level 1 or something like that, you know. I bring up Ken because it's probably the character I play the most here because it's Ken. Or something like Terry, for example, using a C groove, a Capcom groove with an SNK character. You know, you can do Buster Wolf and then Power Geyser or Power Knuckle or Crack Shoot or whatever. So that's the main gimmick. Then you have like little subsystems in each groove. In C groove's case is you can dash, you can roll, which is different from some particular characters' rolls. I know Ken and Akuma in particular, they do have rolls. But this group does give rolls to everyone and roll invincibility on itself. You got an air block, which is honestly pretty cool. I didn't know the alpha games allow you to air block. I assume this is an alpha 3 thing in particular, but yeah, you can air block. And you got the alpha counter, which you probably heard a lot about. It's basically advancing guard from Marvel, or well, I guess advancing guard from Marvel is basically alpha counter. But yeah, but pretty much is that. This is a good beginner groove, I feel. Like, I've been toying around a little bit with each one, and I do think the C groove is like the most intuitive if you know about other fighting games, because it's your 3-meter bar, and then eventually you start cooking with the cancelling and with the rolling and then on the air block, and you get the timing right and whatever. So it's pretty much your vanilla groove. I'll recommend this one if you're starting on the game. If you're overwhelmed by everything else the game has, C groove is a good start, I think. But there are other beginner-friendly grooves in my opinion, but C groove's probably the friendliest, yeah. Then, funnily enough, you jump into one of the more complex ones with A groove. Again, based on Alpha 3. Alpha 3 also had this groove system, if you want to call it that. In the game, it's called isms. There are 3 of them, as opposed to 6 here. So that's where the idea came from, probably. I assume so. So A groove is a very free flow groove, if you ask me. If you feel it to just, you know, the whole thing, you get your level 1 and level 2s. You don't get level 3. It's just 1 and 2. But the real sauce comes when you activate the groove. The bar starts depleting slowly, but you enter this free flow state, where basically all your normals and specials can cancel into each other. So, excuse the poor footage on screen, this is from me toying around for like 10 minutes. You can cancel things into things into things into things, and eventually finish it all with a big super. And it's very satisfying to pull off. I haven't done any complex combos, as you can see on screen. I'll put real good combos on screen now. But it's very, very satisfying to watch and insanely satisfying to pull off, I will say. I didn't research any particular combos for my characters, but whatever I was toying with, I was like, oh shit, this is sick. It's very free nature, free flowy, and it's very, very cool to pull off. It's hard though. It looks very hard, and the execution is very strict, because there's not a lot of buffering windows in this game. You know, this is a retro game, this is an early 2000s game, so you will not get the buffer you get nowadays. You get some buffer, it's not melee with their 0 frames of buffer, but it's a little bit tighter than you will think. So don't get too cocky with it, it's not as easy as you think. Maybe the collection, maybe it is, if you're playing like friendlies or in a lobby, because you do have special inputs with 1 button. I haven't tried it personally because I've been playing on ranked, so personally I haven't mapped, I don't know, L2 to Shoryuken or anything. But you could pull it off with that, should you choose to. The option's there. You won't have it in ranked though, you'll have it with your friends or casual matches. So do keep that in mind. But yeah, the collection makes A groove a little bit more accessible. Compared to the like C groove, the subsystems here are far less. You lose the air block, and you do keep the dash, the rolling, and the counter attack though. Outside of that, you can't block in the air anymore, but you still keep the alpha counter and the alpha rolling. So, in that sense, they're the same. But when you get into the nitty gritty, you know, with the A groove activation and not having level 3, that's where most of your differences are. And I would say I recommend this if you're a love monster. Like if you like loving around stuff with different characters, I do recommend this one. But as a beginner groove, I don't know, man, it's tough. It's rough out here. But it is quite fun. You just need to put a lot of time into it. And then there's the one I tried the most. Probably, yeah, between the PS2 and the collection, this one is definitely it. This is Pre-Groove, which I mentioned briefly before. P-Groove is your parry groove, it's your Third Strike groove, so that's why I tried it out. I was basically playing Third Strike. You don't have red parries though, but I never pulled them off anyway, so who cares? So P-Groove is your Third Strike groove. You get a parry, you can't air block, you can't alpha counter like the previous 2 grooves. You are playing Third Strike, you got a parry, you got a dash, and you got a small jump. Those are your subsystems. But, which is funny, this is a collection exclusive. Well, I guess not because it's EO. This is EO exclusive, I meant to say, but ranked in the collection exclusive. P-Groove was not very good in the original CVS2, because building meter, this is still a thing in EO by the way, building meter takes a while. You don't get level 1, level 2, level 3, you just get level. Like, it needs to be full for you to do any super. Level 1, level 2, level 3, whichever, it's just the same bar, and it's just one bar. So I guess you could just say super bar instead of level 1, 2, and 3 like C Groove. So what can you do here, right? It takes a while to build a bar. Okay, whatever. You don't have EX moves, so you won't be spending the bar in anything else. No groove has EX moves, so there's not there's no EX moves at all here. So your bar will be your bar, and you're building your bar. That's it. So what the EO version does, they add the special cancel into Super that Third Strike has. Original CVS2 did not have this. EO does. Therefore, Ranked does have this buff to P-Groove. And it makes the groove a lot more fun than it was on the original version. Again, I don't know much about roll canceling. I get that that's a big topic right now. But personally, I never pull it off, so I don't care. Sorry. I do hope you guys get it in Ranked or as an option or something. But personally, I don't mind playing the EO version. Especially because P-Groove is buffed. And it's quite fun to pull off the special cancel into Super. I'm trying to, pull it off because the timing is strict, because it's an older game, kind of like Third Strike situation here. So it's kind of, my muscle memory is a bit off. But other than that, it's really, really fun to pull off, and you got your parries anyway. Your parry is not as good, I would say, as in Third Strike. You will not be fishing for parries. Like, projectile-wise, sure, you can just parry it. But you won't be pulling off some Evo 37 moments here or anything. It's just not that useful, and it doesn't fill up your bar that much. So it's mainly the canceling into things. But now I'll say now it's a more fun groove than it was originally. But yeah, that's your Third Strike groove basically. And now we jump into the SNK side, which I was definitely less familiar with, outside of a groove that's basically the Fatal Fury Garou groove. And since I've been playing City of the Wolves, I was more familiar with this, which was kind of funny, playing this, learning this, and then being like, oh, that's where that's from. Cool. So let's start with S Groove, which is from King of Fighters 94, from what I can see on the wiki. So this is probably the most underwhelming groove I tried out of all of them. So what the groove does is you can charge, and you get into max power, and that's when you unlock supers. If it's not full, you don't get supers, unless you're at 30% critical health or below. That's when you get unlimited level 1s. Now that sounds pretty cool, right? And honestly, it might be on the lower rank, where I am. That's probably really good. Something like Mai throwing her fans over and over, that's probably really useful. I saw Athena. Athena's level 1 seems like very useful for a group like this. So I'm not saying this doesn't have any value. I just think that you can lose 30% rather easily, especially if you're playing against a ratio 4 character, which I will talk about later. You can just lose your health. So I don't know. I found it underwhelming, and the subsystems in the groove don't help a lot either. You can run like all the SNK games. You get a small jump like all the SNK games. You get a alpha guard, I guess you can call it. I don't know the naming in KOF terms. I just say counter attack or advancing guard. And then you get a spot dodge. Like, you know how Terry in Ultimate has like an attack after his spot dodge? That's here, except for the attack. So I assume this is where it was based from. So you basically get a spot dodge, and I don't know, I didn't find that useful. I found the roll far more useful in terms of invincibility. I don't know, I just couldn't see it here. I'm sorry, I'm sure it probably has like some hidden potential. But outside of the critical health level 1, I did not see it. And I do like the charging animation, that's pretty cute. But outside of that, I didn't vibe with this. I won't probably use this groove anymore. I tried it out mainly because I wanted to, research it properly to talk to you guys about it, at least in a general sense. And I was just not convinced, sorry. N Groove is probably one of the weirder ones. I won't say it's bad. I don't think any groove is bad necessarily, but this one's weird. So basically the way it works is you charge you get bar, right? You get bar, you get bar, you get bar, and these little pellets start showing up as soon as your bar fills up. Your bar fills up, it resets, you get a pellet, and so on. Eventually you get 3 of them. So if you trigger one of them, you get super for this time bar. If you spend your super, then the bar just depletes. But you basically use this as an upgrade, you know, as a pseudo X Factor, I guess you can call it. And the cool thing here is, if you spend one of the, let's say you have the 3 pellets, right? You spend one, and when you do a level 3, instead of spending all 3 pellets as it would have if you didn't trigger this, it just spends 1 more. So you spend 1 to activate it and another 1 for the level 3. So you do deal a lot of damage on a roll level 3. That's pretty cool, and you don't lose all your bar progress. Outside of that, I don't know, it's kind of mid. Like, if you're a big fan of cashing out with level 3, good on you, this is very good. But outside of that, like, it doesn't do a whole lot. Like, if you're a big super guy, this is for you. Outside of that, it's whatever. You do get, again, you get run, you can roll with this one, you can small jump, you get the alpha guard. So, on that sense, that's pretty cool. So, you also get, I guess it's not alpha guard, it's alpha roll, advancing roll. So, when you're in Blockstone, right, instead of mashing for the alpha guard and push block, you roll, like you just like Smash Bros. You hold your shield and you roll. That's pretty much it. That's pretty cool. Like, it gets you out of the seat of the block stun, so that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I don't think this groove is bad, and it's actually very creative, and it probably has a lot of creative potential. I just don't vibe with it, at least at my beginner level. I definitely vibe a lot more with the following and last groove. This one's the K groove. This is probably the one you heard of the most. So this is the Garou groove. And the most Garou thing it has is just defend, which is basically parrying, but instead of holding forward, you hold back. It's pretty much the same thing. Outside of that, you can run and you can short hop. This one has the least subsystems out of all of them, but the groove itself is sick. So it's basically the comeback groove. Let's say you're losing really hard, your meter starts filling up, and when it fills up, you start flashing red, you get rage, right? And I think that's the Samurai Showdown portion of the groove. So you're losing, now you hit harder, and that's when you get your supers. So the thing here is, would you rather play normally but now you deal more damage, kind of like an X Factor of sorts, or would you like to spend it all on this super that will deal a whole lot more damage than it would do with any other groove, just that you lose all your rage, right? So the optimal thing here will be play normally, and when your bar is almost out, that's when you super, because you can just level 3 anytime you have this bar. It can be at the very beginning or at the very end when you get a little sliver. So that's what I would personally recommend. You just play normally, you try to land your hits, and if you're just running out, that's when you spend it. Because this is the one groove that the bar does not translate between characters. Let's say you're playing your first character, right? Your first round. All the other grooves, your bar does translate to your other character. Let's say you lose or you win, whatever. Your second character will have that. Or your second round will have that. K-groove does not, unless it's the same character. Like, let's say you win round 1, your bar will remain. If you lose the character, though, your K-groove is empty. Regardless whether you spend it or not. Empty. So, it's definitely a cash-out sort of groove, and it's really, really fun. I definitely recommend C and K groove as your beginner grooves. If you're more familiar with Third Strike, I would definitely recommend P groove. N groove... Maybe I'm sorry, I just don't see the value in the S groove. I'm sorry. Like, it has potential for sure, but I don't see it. I'll say just as a beginner, stick to C and K groove personally. Alpha groove is definitely the cook, let them cook groove, you know. But yeah, beginning C and K groove personally. At least that's what I did. Okay, now you pick your group, right? Now you jump into picking your character. So there's a lot of characters here. There's a whole lot out of the Capcom and SNK side. I do find it kind of sad that the Capcom side is mostly Street Fighter. And you might be thinking, Frank, what do you expect? But may I remind you, there's another Versus series with Capcom on their name, and it's not all Street Fighter. At the time, maybe. But also at the time, MVC2 was out. Mega Man was there. Captain Commando was there. You had the sprites, you could have used them. You used fucking Morrigan's sprite from Darkstalkers. So you could have used that. But I don't know, I get that developing these games back then was tough and all that. So that's fine, that's fine. I don't mind, I just wish the Capcom side was less Street Fighter-y. But you do have a lot of characters here, and the collection does have the bosses unlocked. So you can play as God, Rugal, and Shinakuma, should you choose to. Don't be a dick. But yeah, you could. So the thing here is, you can either pick your 3 characters like you do in King of Fighters. You know, you build your team. And you can do that, obviously. That's the intended way, I guess. But they also give you the option to just pick 1 or 2. When you pick a character, this end space shows up, and you can just go there and be like, okay, I'll just play Ken, I'll just play Ryu, I'll just play Chun-Li. Or you can do like a Akuma and Sagat, and I'll just go in. So what's the benefit of this, right? You're like, oh shit, I only have 1 character. What, isn't this a handicap? Am I just not nerfing myself? No. Fuck no. So after you pick your characters, you go into the order and ratios. So ratio basically means how do you want your strength to be divided by your characters. Let's say you pick 3. Your total ratio has to add up to 4. So you pick 3 characters, it will be 1, 1, plus 2. The ratio 2 character will be stronger than your 1s. Obviously, if you pick 1 character, you'll automatically have ratio 4. And this is a huge, huge buff. Like, yeah, you have 1 character, you're playing the risk of all in on this character, but you hit like a truck, dude. Like, you hit like a truck. I don't have the numbers on me right now, but the difference is astonishing when you're in ratio 4. So, if you like that, if you trust yourself with 1 character outside of like dividing your attention between several, ratio 4 is your go-to, and you will hit hard. Just make sure that, you know, you can actually handle whatever they throw at you. Because the other ones, you know, if you pick 1 character, your opponent can still pick 3. Just your character will be stronger than any individual character they have. But, you know, the idea here is, let's say you win your round 1. Whatever health you have, you gain a little back of that health back, and that's what you play. You don't get your full health back. It's not a completely new round. Again, you're playing King of Fighters, basically. So, you gotta trust that. It's like, okay, can I handle this before they kill me with all their 3 characters? Or what do I do, okay? So that's pretty much the risk-reward, right? The risk is you only have 1 character, the reward is you're strong as shit. So that's honestly pretty cool. That's all the setup even before playing the game, right? So what happens when you're actually playing the game? Okay, so when you hop into the game itself, again, you'll be playing a very different game, whether you chose specific ratios and specific rules. So you'll be playing more like a Street Fighter if you pick the C, A, and P group, obviously, and you'll be playing more of an SNK game if you pick S, N, and K. Duh! No shit. But even then, there are some general things they all share, right? Obviously, you can still normal and special cancel, you know, medium kick into Shoryuken, you can still do that, obviously. The game's very fast in terms of your character movement. Sorry, I can't speak. Your characters move rather quickly. The game itself, though, it's not like this crazy combo, crazy game, you know, it's TOD unless you're doing some glitchy infinite. Your regular match of CVS2 will be very neutral focused, but also very aggressive, I would say. Like, yeah, you got your projectiles and whatever. You can play kind of like an SF2, but most of your gameplay, at least this is what I feel, is each player will try to take advantage of their groove. So let's say I'm attacking someone and they have the C groove. They roll behind me and they super, right? They take advantage of their invincibility and they turn the tables on me. Or me, the K group player, I'm like, okay, hit me. I want to hit you harder, hit me, or I'll also just defend your attacks too. So I build bar. So it's very, obviously you can get campy, but it's a very aggressive game. But it's not very combo oriented. In that sense, sorry I keep comparing it to Third Strike, but I feel like that's the most apt comparison I have. And honestly, I can also say Garou. It's like that they managed to mix Garou and Third Strike. I guess that's City of the Wolves as well, but City of the Wolves has the whole EX cancelling that does not exist here. So this is like a tamer version of that. But this is like the neutral, focused Third Strike Garou mashup you probably like and think it's peak. And honestly, it's very peak. Again, I did not grow up with this game. I don't have any nostalgia goggles like I have said in the other two videos, the Marvel and Third Strike videos. I did not grow up with this. This is why I find it so much fun to make this series, because it's like, okay, I'm a beginner. Can I get into this game and recommend you guys to get into this game? And I'll say yes. I'll definitely say yes. The variety is definitely there with all the grooves and the ratios and the characters. There are so many characters here. But the thing is, maybe your biggest gripe, outside of understanding what each group does, which a little search just leads you the right way, or training mode in the collection. The biggest thing here, I would say, is you are playing a 20-plus-year-old game, okay? Your input buffering is not what it is nowadays. So you might be thinking, oh, but I did the right input, it didn't come out. You gotta be tight, okay? You gotta make the input. You can't just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and something will come out, okay? And I don't say that as a, oh, you people, you all have skill issues. No, dude, I miss inputs all the time. But I say this as someone that was playing Fatal Fury, that was playing Street Fighter 6. Coming back to this, I was like, oh, I need to beat my Third Strike brain. I need to do this with similar Third Strike timing. Okay, getting that mindset, chat. So, that's basically it. It's not a gripe, it's like a piece of advice. You are playing an older game. And in the collection, bless the collection, because there's a lot of people that are like me, or like you, if you're a newcomer to this game, to this series, to this genre even. There are people out there learning the game too. However, there are also people that are very happy to be playing this with rollback. So, in your early ranks, you could run into CVS2 Master Jingamajig, okay? So, don't feel discouraged if you run into someone and they're wipe the floor with you. You're learning the game. And you're getting used to the game. That's fine. You still have time to find your groove if you prefer to play with all three characters, or just two, or just one even. You got time. That's fine. You got the collection. Sadly, the collection doesn't have crossplay, but it is early on its release that people will still be playing it. So if you're interested, I'll say take advantage of this moment now. And the game itself is very fun. It's very interesting to learn because there's so much to learn. But at the same time, it also feels very intuitive, especially if you have background between Street Fighter or SNK games. If you have that background, of course, you'll be very comfortable at home. But if if this is your first fighting game, you got the learning tools too. It is not as intimidating as it was before the collection, maybe. Like, you know, learn it by yourself with emulator. Not saying you can't, obviously you can, and I even celebrated the fact that you can with something like Third Strike. You can learn through Fightcade. I celebrated that and I admire that, of course. But now you have an easier tool, so I definitely do recommend that. So, is the game fun? Yes, absolutely. Should you try it? In my opinion, yes. There's a lot in it to try. So, this game is very, very interesting. It's very complex. It's definitely one of the more complex fighting game, decision-making fighting games I played. Again, I don't have like 500 games on me or anything, but like from what I've been playing recently, I'll say it did make me use my brain quite a bit. And I'm not one to use my brain, and it's humbling me in my mashing spirit is being very humbled, I'll say. But I did get some wins. Getting wins in a fighting game makes the brain go happy, so you can definitely do it if I can. But yeah, I think that's a good place to cut it off. Sorry if I didn't go as in-depth as maybe some of you were expecting with something like the groups or whatever. Again, this is from a newcomer's eyes. I just went through a basic description and my feelings on it. So I do think it is possible to get into CVS2 in current year, especially because the collection is out. But it is possible, even if you don't have the collection. Just keep in mind that there are two versions of CVS2. Original with roll cancel and all the invincibility crazy shit that it brings, and EO, which is currently the thing you can use in ranked. Maybe they patch it into being able to choose both, but right now at the recording of this video, you can only play ranked on EO, okay? So keep that in mind. The PS2 and the EO ranked thing might not be the same. And for some reason I can't find edit color mode in CVS2 collection. Why? The PS2 had it. Is it because it's an arcade version and that didn't have it? I would like to edit my colors. I would like to make blue can and not cyan can. But that's maybe something I didn't find. I don't know. I didn't check much, to be honest, but maybe. I don't know. But yeah. That's it for me for now. Eventually we'll make more on more modern games. Not that many. Like, I'm not saying a game that came out yesterday. But, you know, maybe more 2010s, you know, maybe more on those lines. I do have a few ideas, and I've asked for some people's help. So, maybe soon. Well, I don't think soon, but someday we will. But yeah, as of now, I hope you're enjoying your fighting games as usual. Do give CVS2 a try. It definitely deserves it. It's very complex and very fun. It's very satisfying to learn. So, in my opinion, yes, you can definitely do so. Will I eventually make a video where the answer is no? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just flowing with it. But yeah, thank you for watching as usual. I appreciate your support and take care, have fun, and happy fighting gaming.